Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we'll be doing another tier list. This tier list will be focusing on my favorite spirits to play. So before I kind of dig into the tier list, what we're going to do is define the different tiers that I've made for this list. So S tier, these are the spirits that I enjoy to play the most. Basically my go-tos whenever I'm playing, I'll probably play one of those spirits. A tier, these are spirits that I like playing less than the S tier. It's fairly inconsistent. Like I enjoy what the spirit does, but they're not like my go-to spirits. B tier is for spirits that I don't enjoy playing, but if someone said, "Hey, you have to play it," then I'm okay. Like I can still pilot the spirit and I'll have a okay time. And then F tier, these are spirits that I actively enjoy, or I actively do not enjoy playing them. Um, it is okay for some of the F tier spirits to be on my team, but usually I would rather them not be on my team. So, with that said, let's get started. We are going to do the first four spirits, the first four low complexities here in the base game expansion. We have River, Lightning, Shadows, and Vital Earth. River is one of my, I don't want to say favorite spirits. It used to be one of my favorites when I first started playing the game. It does get very simple. It is a 0 to 1, like I had mentioned in some of my previous videos, but really the big problem with River and why it's not an S tier is because you only gain power cards on your G3 and G1, and River has this very optimal rush down to 5 plays and end in a reclaim loop. And I do have a River guide if that's a spirit that you're struggling with, but basically the spirit is just not it's not worthy of S tier for me in terms of favorites. The next spirit on this list is Lightning, and this also includes all of the lightning aspects. This is a very solid B tier spirit, very similar to River in that it enters a reclaim loop very early in the game, and I find Lightning's reclaim loop to be a lot less interesting than River's. So like with River, you're moving to Han with the travel innate, you're giving out Boon of Vigor, you're having this big nuke with your innate. Lightning just doesn't do that. And for me, it just is just quite boring. It's very hard to gain cards because you can't gain cards on G3. It's only on G1. The play patterns are pretty awkward. Now, I do like playing let's pull up, I do like playing Pandemonium, the Pandemonium aspect, which just gives it a ton of fear. I mean, it's completely busted, but it's just hilarious when you play this and get like 9 fear or something like that. It was a 2-4. It's like 11 fear on an innate. It's just quite hilarious. Um, Wind, yeah, I don't like playing Wind. And then I know a lot of players like Immense. I just find Immense to be just a major high rolling spirit, and I find that to be quite boring. Pretty much you just draft majors. You have like what, one or two drafts to find good majors, and if they don't actually do anything, then you just die. Otherwise, they do stuff, and then you just destroy the adversary. So to me, it's just it's like playing. I guess it's like gambling. It's like a lottery. Okay, and that is Lightning. And just looking at River here, because I didn't talk about the aspects, we have River Travel. There we go. River Travel, and this is my main way on how I play River. I don't play River Base. And then Sunshine is just a terrible version of River. I'll never play this, but pretty much River Travel is the way to go. There we go. Okay, looking at Shadows, this is a solid F tier. Not just for the base shadows, but pretty much all of the aspects. I'm not going to cover it. Pretty much the spirit, it feels bad to play. It feels bad to play with it. Um, I don't really see the theme. I know someone tried to debate with me about how it has a very strong theme, but I don't see it. The growth options are pretty basic, and then the tracks are very mediocre. But yeah, so very solid F tier spirit. And then Earth goes up here into S tier, which is quite funny for a lot of players. They probably put Earth in F tier, but I like defensive spirits, and this is my favorite favorite tier list, so it's going to go up here. Um, it's just something about specifically the might aspect that makes this spirit very starlighty, I guess is a way to phrase it. But I basically turn the spirit to like build your own spirit, and then this Might Innate allows you to play an extra card play. In addition, it gives you +2 damage. So basically what I end up doing is like turning into like this major spirit powerhouse digging for a the damage majors, like for instance Tiger's Hunting, because Might gives me +2 damage. I can increase the damage of this card, and then I can use my repeat to repeat Tiger's Hunting. So basically, I dig for a major, and then I try to repeat it with this Gift of Strength and just obliterate lands. I find Might to be very fun to play. I also like one of the new aspects for Earth is one of my favorite aspects in the game as well. So just two strong aspects that I really like playing. I do not like Resilience. For me, it's just too passive. I feel if I were to be playing a passive version of Earth, I would rather just play base Earth. Since we're covering low complexities, let's now talk about the Horizon Spirits. I actually think this expansion was quite a success. We'll start with Teeth. I will put Teeth all the way. Is it B? Is it F tier? Probably I'll put it at the bottom of B tier. Um, you can probably convince me to play this spirit, but it's just not that fun. It's not as bad as Shadows, to where I probably would hate the entire game that I was playing if I was playing it, but it gets very samey. I do like the artwork at least on this spirit, so that's why I have it at the bottom of B tier. Just like Lightning and River, it enters this reclaim loop that just is very uninteresting. Eyes, this is one of my favorite spirits in the game. I'll actually put it above Earth, and we'll put it here. And Eyes is just another defensive spirit that also has fear tacked onto it. I have an Eyes guide if this is a spirit that you're struggling with, but pretty much it's just a very it's how defensive spirits, or how a low complexity defensive spirit should have been designed. Um, and that's a kind of a knock at Earth, because Earth is just very clunky and awkward, while Eyes just has so many build paths and directions. You have the major build, you have a rush minor build, just so many different options, plus really fun support cards via Boon of Watchful Guarding. So really like Eyes. Okay, looking at Rising Heat. This is a solid A tier spirit. It's actually very similar to River, and there's a lot of parallels. Basically, you have that innate, that's this massive damage effect. It has the same growth style in a way. This is a 0-2-1 versus a 0. Well, they're both 0-2-1s. The tracks are also fairly similar, 5 and 5. They also both have an energy boon, and then they both have like a push card. Um, Rising Heat is like a balanced version of River. Now it's not perfect. It definitely has issues like the G3 spam build that I pretty much say is the only way to play the spirit, um, or at least that build tends to dominate games. But the yeah, so I think Rising Heat is a better designed spirit, and I like playing it though slightly less than River. Maybe I like playing River so much because I love playing where is it? River's Bounty. I love adding to Han, and I love giving out energy, like massive amounts of energy, like 5, 6, stuff like that. Looking at Mud, this spirit used to be in B tier until recently, which got it up into A tier. I'd say it's at the bottom of A tier, so I'll put it over here below River. And yeah, I mean I've really enjoyed playing the spirit into pretty much every matchup outside of Russia. The Russia matchup is just very unfun, but the rest of the matchups are really cool. And I think I've mastered this spirit into England now. I kind of figured out the strategy on how to kind of conquer England. So um, this spirit is like a silver bullet in England, and I think um, maybe I know I have an England six guy or an England six guide. I also have a mud into England six, but I might do the matchup again just to kind of walk players through how mud approaches the matchup, because I think mud just decimates that adversary. Sunbright Whirlwind. This is also an A tier, and this is actually going to be above River for me. I really think they did a great job with Sunbright here. The 0-1-1 is usually a growth pattern that I hate playing, and with Sunbright, it's just phenomenal. There's just a lot of choices that I really like with Whirlwind. Just like the other Horizon Spirits, it's not perfect, but I think this is closest to perfect compared to all of the other Horizon Spirits. I love the growth option where you're placing presence, or not growth option, your special rule where you place presence and you get to push stuff, and then you can access 3 plays early. You can rush down plays. You can get majors. I do think majors is probably slightly a little bit too weak compared to the minor build, but it's still I think a very cool spirit. And that concludes the Horizon spirits. Let's now move up to the moderates. Let's look at Thunder Speaker, Green, and then Keeper as well as Fangs. And Keeper and Fangs are part of the Branch and Claw expansions. They're not part of the base game. Thunder Speaker and Green are part of the base game. So Thunder Speaker down into F tier. Um, it's I tried playing the Spirit. I used to like playing it when I first started, um, and I tried picking it up recently, and it's just something about it. It's just very boring for me. Um, and I usually like the defensive Dahan based strategies, but it's just something with this spirit where it doesn't feel interesting. A lot of times you tend to grab majors, and then if you pick that one good Dahan major, you just completely slaughter. If you don't get the Dahan major, then you just kind of play to the tempo of the invaders, and I just find it, like I said, boring. It's just not fun. Also, this thing doesn't get much fear either. So Green, this is one of my favorite spirits in the game. So that will go all the way up here. It's probably, I would say, one of my top 5. And I actually like playing green without the Gift of Proliferation. And that's the card that allows you to allow spirits to accelerate on their tracks. But just playing this for elements is just, I think, for me, the most fun I've had with green. It's just a goofy spirit, and I just love the defensive capabilities, the Dahan movement. I love the Badlands synergies with the left innate. I love skipping builds and ravages. Really, I think it's just a very fun spirit. Now, it is a bit on the stronger end. Um, like if they were to nerf Gift of Proliferation, I'm pretty sure this would be a very solid A tier spirit. But so yeah, it's definitely a little bit overpowered, but it's fun for sure. We have Keeper and Fangs. Keeper will go into A tier, and that will go above. Actually, it'll probably go below Rising Heat. So Keeper, it's going below Rising Heat. So I love the elements. I love Plant, Sun. I like the Wild Space cards. I love its kit. I think its uniques are quite interesting, like a very support card, Blight Heal. I really enjoy that. The reason why it's going here and not higher up is because the it's just too strong. In a lot of matchups, it just completely decimates the adversary and trivializes the challenge. Like Russia, this thing like hard counters Russia to the point where like it can single-handedly like I'm pretty sure I can beat 2 boards with this. It's definitely a game that I should play at some point, but like around turn 5 into Russia 6, this thing has its board clear and is already helping out like another board and will just completely trivialize the matchup for the whole team. And I hate that it just playing the spirit can win the game for other players, and it kind of gets rid of that challenge. Um, it's pretty solid to like every adversary outside of Sweden, but Sweden is just like a coin flip to see how well you do. Now it is plant, so I mean, of course, I have to like the spirit because pretty much all of my spirits are plant-based spirits. But this is probably the one spirit that I like the least for the plant-based spirits. Fangs. We'll put Fangs probably above, thinking above River. Yeah, we'll put it above River for now. Fangs used to be my favorite spirit for a very long time. Um, I don't know why it dropped. I think just the edge cases. So Fangs is all about playing around that 5 or 10% chance that something really bad happens to you. And if that thing happens, then your game is over. And it's just very, very, very challenging to play. And it's very, I believe the word is knife edged. But basically, like I said, if you make that one mistake, you die. If you play around all of those edge cases, you win. But it's just very punishing. And for me, that play style can be very fun, but also very frustrating, especially when you're at the table with 6 other players. Also, I tend to like the minor focus strat with Fangs, and maybe I just kind of overplayed Fangs too much to where that strategy just eventually just got boring. And the other problem is the major base strategy. Like normally, I'd be like, oh, that'd be really cool because you get to use the beast majors, but the problem is Many Minds is a completely better major power spirit than Fangs. Like it's just night and day, with just how much better of a spirit Many Minds is. So if I want to play majors with beast majors, I want to pick Many Minds, not Fangs. Now I do think Fangs does a better job with minor power cards than Many Minds, but yeah. Okay, so let's look at the high complexities from the base game and also the high complexities from the promo pack from the base game. And we got Ocean, Bringer, Wildfire, and Snake. Bringer is another F tier spirit. It's probably, actually, let me order these correctly. I actually like playing it more than Thunder Speaker and more than Shadows. So the problem with Bringer is there's no other builds exist outside of the major power build. Getting to 3 plays is just very challenging. As you can see, you're a 0/1/1 spirit, and that getting to 3 plays would require at least 3 plays on bottom, or 3 presence placements from bottom, in which case your energy is going to be shot. And your cards already are built towards majors, especially with a Call on Midnight Stream. I think if the right innate was different, and if your bottom track was just a little bit like if the 3 plays was pushed up earlier, then you had a 4th play here. I think I would actually really like playing against Bringer or playing with Bringer. It would probably be an A tier. It's just not having that minor base strategy, which is usually my favorite way to play, is a turnoff. Ocean, this is also a F tier spirit, and it's probably above Thunder Speaker though. Let's see, we'll put those over there. Yeah, I think it's above Thunder Speaker. I just, I don't know. Every time I play this thing, I don't enjoy the games. I've been playing a lot of solo with the spirits, and it just feels too strong. Um, Too strong isn't you generate way too much energy, but then if you play this in multiplayer, it's just way too weak. Um, they really should just cap the energy gain. They should probably cap it at 3 or 4. 4 is probably balanced. 3 is probably a little bit on the stronger end. But I just don't like how the spirit in one format is way too easy and just kind of boring, and the other one is way too difficult. And solo, like if you pull up any of my Ocean games, you'll see that I'll have games where I'll have like 20 energy, just like some absurd amount, and then there's no reason not to just keep grabbing majors with your G1 or G3. And to me, just not interesting. Where I'm just spamming major drafts, just looking for an answer for my inland, and yeah, I just find it to be not interesting. And then in multiplayer, like 6 player, you just can't get energy, so you can't play your cards. So it's just very frustrating. I actually talked with my group the other day about this. I really wonder if they just completely I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but they should completely get rid of this. Just get rid of the drowning. Like you can still throw stuff in the ocean, and you can still like this drown would just like anything that says drowned, it would just say destroy, right? And then just rework the top track and rework the growths to get your energy. And I really want to know how that would play out. Um, and the main reason for doing that is I don't really see an incentive to go to top track. Bottom track is I mean, I can't, like I said, I can't see a reason. It's always better in the games that I've seen. Nobody ever like commits to these top elements. Um, okay, let's let's keep moving. Wildfire. This is a solid B tier spirit. I would actually put it above Lightning. Um, it's a fun spirit to play every once in a while, but it's just you don't have much flexibility. Eventually, you're going to burn down the island by adding blight all the time, and while that extra damage is cool at first, it just for me it just gets boring. Um, a lot of Wildfire's decisions I find to be forced. Like you're forced to deal with this problem. You're forced to choose G2. You're forced to choose G3. There is no interesting dynamics between the growth options, and yeah, and I mean that's the reason why I have it as low as I do. Like I said, I'll play it every once in a while, but it's not a spirit that I would like to continue playing. And Snake, this for me is another F tier spirit. It's probably worse than Ocean, to be honest. I really don't like the spirit. Mainly that's because the best way to play it is to reclaim loop, absorb essence, and elemental aegis. Both of these cards, when you play them, you'll get your tier 2 of your right innate, and then you'll eventually get your left innate tier 1, and it just makes the spirit very repetitive, and that is, it takes, I think, 8 turns before you can kind of play 4 plays. So you're only playing 2 plays a turn, and those are the 2 cards you're playing, so that can be very boring after a while. Now, for some spirits, for some players that love playing support spirits, this is the spirit to play. But for me, it's just like I said, it's just too linear. The optimal play is too linear. Okay, moving on to Jagged Earth expansion. Let's see if I can slide the NIs down here because this is probably the content people want to hear. So we'll save that for the end. Okay, so we got Volcano, Stone, Trickster, and Many Minds. We'll do it in sets of 4, I think. And actually, we'll do Memory and Lure. We'll do all of that. So we'll do all of the moderates. Let's move all of those up. Okay. Starting with Stone, this is the one spirit that started the channel. This is the spirit that I kind of, I guess, popularized the major, or not the major power, the top track build, because a lot of players were convinced on bottom track. This is one of my favorite spirits to play. It's probably, I play it less than Eyes right now in green. I think that's just because I played way too many games to where I pretty much, I know for a fact I can win every matchup 100% of the time with the spirit without any, like, it doesn't matter what events come up, it doesn't matter what my draws are. I'm pretty sure, I think France is the only one where I think if someone stacked the decks, I think I will lose. But other than that, I think you can stack the decks and Stone will still win. And that just tells you just how powerful the spirit is. I do have a Stone guide if you want to see the opening. Give it a look. I do plan on redoing that guide at some point because I was using an older software for these guides originally. But yeah, the spirit is I mean, it's defensive, it's earth, plant, sun, pretty much everything I like playing. Just a very strong spirit. Another thing you'll notice is most of my favorite spirits are 1/1/1s, and that is that they place presence on all of their growth options. Well, Eyes is not that, but the other 3 are. Next spirit is Trickster, and Trickster is going to go into F tier. Actually, not F tier is probably a little bit too much. Probably, and actually B tier is more likely. Trickster, it's interesting, but the elements play too different than the elements I like to play. It's Moon, Fire, Plant, which contrasts the Sun, Water, Earth spirits slash plant that I'm used to playing with the spirits up here. I do think it's on the stronger end. It has some very cool builds. One of the players in my play groups was telling me of a build where you grab a major, I think turn 1, and you reclaim loop it for the entire game, and you just get stuck at your 3 plays, and the build works. And he was showing it to me, and he was beating high-level double adversaries with it. I'm hoping one day he'll actually post a video, or at least teach me the strategy more in depth, so I can post a video on how it works. But it's very, very interesting. But I think for me, it's just whenever I play Arson, I get the fire, and I believe he was telling me that Arson, it's like a 30% chance that you're going to flip fire. But psychologically, for me, it feels bad to flip it, but he always says to just plan around as if you're flipping the fire. But yeah, it's a feel bad for me, and that's really why I just don't like playing the spirit. Okay, let's do memory. Memory's grown on me. I'd probably put it above Trickster in B tier. I can't believe I actually put memory up here, but it is a 1/1/1 spirit, and I like playing those. It is an earth spirit, which I also like playing those. I really wish the bottom track, just like Bringer, I wish the bottom track was slightly better to make miners more viable of a strategy. One of the aspects for memory, for me, it improves the play and the fun significantly. And that's probably why it's here. I mean, it might even be an A tier with the aspect, but really I just like playing just high rolling majors and trying to make those work with memory. I don't think it's a very good spirit per my tier lists, but it's grown on me for the fun factor at least. Lure, this is another B tier spirit. It's above it's above memory. Actually, I guess we'll put teeth over here. I thought we wouldn't have enough space for all of this, but it looks like we will. Oh no, what just happened there? Oh no. Okay, gosh. Okay, whew. Had an emergency there. And we lost, or we won the game, it looks like. Okay. All right, so lure. I have it in B tier because it's a little bit too strong. A lot of times I find myself trying to play softly back in and swallowed the wilderness or by the wilderness as much as I can. And both these cards are just busted. They're just too strong. They do too much for what they're costed, and it just for me it trivializes the spirit. If I like playing plays, I like going down the plays route. And when I get to 3 plays, it feels like my energy is very, very tight. And then I feel like top track doesn't exactly exist outside of the 2 energy. Sometimes the moon exists, but Spirit just gets too much energy via growth options. So really, you just have to play down that bottom track. And Lure pretty much kills the adversary by the time you reach that animal. So the end game for Lure is pretty awkward too. So just it's a very medium spirit. I'll play it every once in a while, but I try to avoid it. Okay, so we're looking at we have Volcano and Mini Mines. Volcano is a solid A tier spirit for me. I'll probably put it above Fangs. It's a very aggressive spirit. It can restore presence. Really, the one thing that busts this thing is the G3. It's very similar to Rising Heat, where if you spam that G3, it does so much to where there's no other growth option for the spirit. I have it lower than Whirlwind because I think I find it's just too strong. Like you reach a point where you'll have like 9 energy on reclaim, and it just yeah, it's just too strong. I wish it was a little bit weaker, and I think that would increase the playability. Many Minds. This is one of my favorite spirits in the game. I'd probably put it above Green. I also think Many Minds is the most balanced spirit in the game. And that's because both growth options are very balanced. The tracks are very balanced. The innates are balanced. You have support. I mean, pretty much it does everything. It's definitely a little bit too strong, and I don't know how I would nerf it. Um, I know I've talked about possibly making the skip card Dreadful Tide cost 1 energy, costs 0 right now. Another option that I've talked about was nerfing the fear on the right innate. But yeah, I mean, really, this thing is really cool. Teching majors, teching minors, just so many different builds, just lots of fun. Okay, looking at the high complexities and the very highs, we have Vengeance and Shroud as the highs. And we will go all the way down here. And I believe probably put Shroud here above Thunder Speaker. Yeah, I just do not like Thunder Speaker. It's probably worse to play than Serpent, interest wise. I don't know. I don't know why I like this. I don't like the spirit. Maybe it's the elements. Maybe the fact that it's just a little bit on the weaker end compared to the rest of the roster. Maybe it's the growth options. I'm not sure. Every time I play this spirit, it's just I have a bad time. I hate that its game plan is keeping invaders around, which goes against one of the main principles of Spirit Island of like kind of creating a pocket. Um, but yeah, so it's down here. Vengeance, I'd put probably above Trickster, I think. I like playing Vengeance every once in a while. It's a little bit too difficult for me. When I say too difficult, there are a lot of edge cases that can come up that really can screw you, and you just don't have an option. You take a lot of blight, and I tend to prefer spirits that don't blight this much, but it does, once it reaches that 3/3, it's just a powerhouse and just chews through anything, and that can be very fun. Um, I just think it's a little bit too constrained, and I wish it had a little bit more variety of options. So it will go underneath memory. Okay, looking at the very high. I guess downpour. Downpour will also go into B tier. I guess what we'll do is we'll move teeth down and move these over. Maybe I should have just done tier maker like everybody else does, but the one thing that we get with this mod is I'm able to kind of discuss cards as well. Okay, so downpour, I have it in B tier because it's very repetitive. I know a lot of spirits in general are repetitive after you played a bunch, but the big thing with downpour is you really you don't really get many drafts. You get a draft on turn 1 or 2, and then you get a draft on turn 3, and then you get a draft on turn 5, and it's a very similar game plan, and I don't know, I don't like it. I know a lot of players like trying to spam the repeats and trying to break the game by repeating one of those land targeting powers, but I just find it to be just very samey. I think even the cards that you draft are also pretty awkward because you pretty much always want water or a defend, which kind of limits a lot of the drafts. Okay, Starlight. This is one of my favorite spirits in the game. I'll probably put it. It jumps around. I probably will have it over here in S tier. Pretty much I turn the spirit into a an earth plant spirit, just like the rest of these spirits up here that are earth plant. And Many Minds is the outlier, but it's really fun. I mean, I pretty much do the same strategy every game. I rush down, I get the miners. I have a Starlight guide if this is a spirit that you're struggling with, but you really give that guide a look. And I have plenty of Starlight games to kind of showcase what I like to do with the spirit. But it's just very interesting. You get to go towards majors in the mid game, um, and you get to play a lot of fun cards. Fractured Days. This is a solid A tier spirit for me. Probably put it above Keeper and Mud. I like playing the spirit. Every once in a while, it can be very taxing on the player just because there's a lot moving on. And especially for the group, if players are not familiar with what Fractured can do, it can kind of add a lot more analysis uh, to their game just because now you may be able to give them an extra card play, an extra reclaim, a slow to fast, and that can really add time to the game. Though it is fun every once in a while to kind of pull this guy out and do some crazy fun combos with it. And lastly, Finder, all the way to the bottom. I think I'm likely to play it more than Shadows. Yeah, I mean, I just really hate playing the Spirit. It's just, I don't. So the most optimal way to play the Spirit is to throw all of your problems onto another board. So for me, that kind of gets rid of a lot of the puzzle because I'm not really thinking of how do I solve my board. It's more so how can I just evacuate my board onto someone else's board. And while yes, that solves the board, it doesn't actually solve the problem. And a lot of times when I see the spirit played, people only pick it up if they can combo it with like ocean or stone. Like nobody actually tries to play the spirit on its own board. And I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, it's a lot easier to kind of throw your problems onto Thunder Speaker's Nuke Land or Volcano's Eruption Land than it is to kind of toss them around your board. But the fact that you can't get is it you lack a lot of card plays and you're also a 0/1/1. There's just a lot of things I don't like about this spirit. Oh, you don't get a lot of fear either. So it's just a very I don't know. I even hate playing the spirit. If other people are playing the spirit at my table, I hate when that happens too, just because it makes the game actually significantly more difficult because the thing doesn't actually progress the game or the win condition. Okay, so we're at 35 minutes exactly, and we have a couple more spirits left, and that is the Nature's Incarnate expansion. So we'll first start off with the spirit that I've worked on the most, and that's Towering Roots. I think I'm at around probably, I would not be surprised if I have 1,000 games played with this spirit. I've played way too many games with Towering Roots, and this is my favorite spirit in the game. I mean, I can't talk much about what's shown here. I mean, it's a 1/1/1. It's a plant, a sun plant, earth, moon spirit. Very high defense, as you can see, based on the summary of powers. It uses vitality. It's just a very fun spirit. A lot of good choices. I think the devs did a great job working with me to make sure that the growth options are very balanced and the tracks are also very balanced. It feels like there's a very good like there is no like set this is the build you do. Like when you play many mines or a river, for instance, there's always the build you have to do. With Roots, it's different every game, and I think that's why I keep coming back to the spirit. Every game is a different game with the spirit, and it's not easy to play. It's there's a lot of small moving parts where if you misplace your tree, your Incarna, that could set you back 2, 3 turns, and I love that that style. In a way, it's kind of like Fangs, where, well, I guess Fangs is playing around edge cases, but really, if you make that one mistake, you're in big trouble. Behemoth, this is another spirit I like a lot. It's probably an A tier. I don't like playing as much as the S tier spirits, but I'll pick it up every once in a while. It's just a very I think what I really like about the spirit is it's very standard. It's just straight damage. It's very simple and it's satisfying. You get to move your big monster around the board. It stomps, crushes a bunch of things, kills a bunch of things. Very very interesting. I think the growth options are a little bit fixed. I think there's a perfect build for Emberite, and we'll talk about that when I make my my Behemoth guide down the road. Um, but I think that's really what's holding the spirit back is I mean that's one of the reasons that I think it's held back. But the games can be very samey after a while. But I've also played quite a lot of games, so I mean if I played I think my guess is around 100 plus of Behemoth over the course of a year of play testing. So I mean part of that could just be just fatigue of playing the spirit so much. Darkness, I cannot actually rate Darkness because I've never played Darkness. If I were to place this spirit somewhere, my guess is it would probably go into A tier, but I'll put it over here off to the side. I've only seen players play it. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I think I would enjoy it, um, but I've never played it, so I don't know. But my guess is A or B. I can't see it entering F tier. There's too much build diversity with the spirit and too much going on for me to get bored. And as you can see, these spirits down here, there's just not much build diversity. Wounded Waters, this is a solid B tier spirit for me. I'll play it every once in a while. I've given this spirit, or I've said a lot of things about this spirit. I think it's probably at the top of B tier. I think I like playing it more than Downpour. I mean, the artwork is just incredible. It's too strong, and I hate. So it's too strong in the end game, and it's too weak in the early game. So in a way, it's a thematic masterpiece, right? Because that's like the intention to be weaker in the early game, strong in the late game. I think the early game turns hurt so much that I can't I can't enjoy the spirit. I hate playing one card for 2 turns and not really having a choice with what I can play. Um, but yeah, pretty much it's here for now. I know eventually once all of the spirits get their full release, I'll talk more in depth about all of the different spirits and kind of why my likes and dislikes out of each one. Okay, Relentless Gaze. This spirit I'll throw into A tier. I don't have much games with Gaze. I think I probably have probably around 5 to 10. It'll go into A tier for now. It might drop. It might go up. I know some players really like the spirit. I think it's just very high skill threshold. I like it way better than Downpour just because there's a lot more going on. The cards you have to pick are more critical than Downpour. Like Downpour is, like I said, you need to. Does it have water? Is it a defend? Gaze, you're looking at a lot of things. Does it have sun? Does it have fire? What about moon? Are you going to try to hit that energy innate on the right? Do you need a major? Do you need a defense? There's just so many moving parts, and I really like that with Gaze. It's also a 1/1/1, so my guess is they'll probably move up the tracks at some point, but I'll need to play it more. We have Dances Up Earthquake. Now, this used to be a spirit that I really enjoyed playing, and I still do, but it's not as fun as it used to be. We'll put it, I guess we'll put it at the top of S here. I guess right between Earth and Stone. I probably like it more than Stone. It's dropped on the fun factor scale a little bit for me, and the main reason is it's a little bit too strong. That right innate is just very powerful when it's planned correctly. I still like playing it every once in a while, especially into a multiplayer setting with or not multiplayer, dual adversary, like very high difficulty. This thing is very cool to play, but into solo, a lot of times this thing just completely demolishes the adversary. Outside of France, France is the one adversary that somehow can beat Dances, which is which is funny because like every spirit like demolishes France, and then you have Earthquake that just can't seem to beat it. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's a lot. It's a real challenge. So, Wandering Voice. This is the other spirit that I have never played a game with. So there are two spirits in the entire game that I've never picked up, and that is Wandering Voice and Darkness. I think if I were to pick Wandering Voice, it would probably go somewhere in B tier. I think I'd like playing it every once in a while, but I think it wouldn't be up here in A tier. Now I don't know. Like I said, I've never played the spirit. I've played with it a lot. I've also played a lot with Darkness. So I know exactly what it does. I know what all of its cards do, but I'm not sure if I would enjoy playing it. And once again, it might just be because of that air moon style of elemental, I guess affinities. Okay, so the last spirit, Hearth Vigil, and this is a solid A tier spirit for me. I'd probably put it above Keeper and Mud. I have quite a lot of games with Hearth Vigil. I actually think the spirit is very strong. Um, I think they actually did a great job. This is one of the spirits I got to work on quite a lot. I worked on Roots, I worked on Behemoth, I worked on Hearth Vigil, and I worked on Earthquake. Yes, the four spirits I've worked on, they're up here. Um, I mean, I really think they did the spirit right. I mean, top and bottom track are very interesting. Your growth options are interesting. The innates are fun. Your cards are fun. I really like the spirit. I need to play it more. It's one of the spirits that I just haven't had enough time just because there's so many fun spirits in the new expansion. I just in new aspects I love playing. It's just kind of hard to pick the spirit, especially when a lot of people are trying to pick it as well. So this is a quite a long video. Hopefully you guys stayed with me for the entire video. If you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next video.